Recording. Yes.
Yeah,
Deep.
so Swamiji, so when I attended a workshop in Ayurveda,
Sit down.
Sit here. Yes. No, you're not being visible. Don't worry. It's only on Swamiji's face.
okay, fine.
You got a workshop on Ayurveda, what?
So in that, there was a question from somebody about people who are completely tamasic in nature, which would mean anybody who doesn't have something sattvic in life. So based on my understanding, that would be somebody who doesn't have any spiritual practice in his life would be considered sort of tamasic. Maybe going partying every Friday, performing no austerities at home, sick in mind, who is very nasty to people would be considered tamasic. So from that point of view, let's say this friend of mine who doesn't do anything at all is tamasic. For him, meditation, jumping from tamasic to sattvic, which would be meditation, would be too big a step. So wouldn't he have to, in our workshop, the teacher said that he would first have to go towards Rajasic and then to Sattvic. Pushing somebody from Tamasic to Sattvic would be worse. So if this person is asked to go for a Vipassana or just meditate, the chances are he'll fall asleep and he wouldn't really experience the benefit of it. But he has to be, if he were to be pushed into a Rajasic side by making him run, for example, and then to make him sit down and calm his mind would have more benefit. So what would you say to that?
Well, the question is about the ideal. I mean, there's the ideal and then there's the practice necessary to realize the ideal. The ideal should be what we had talked about.
Right, but
And then the question is, how do you realize that? Then there are innumerable ways. As long as you have determined that the ideal in life is to realize the spirit, that is that defined to be that which is other than the body and the mind, other than the physical and the psychological reality, something that interpenetrates, or that is at the basis of all reality, the background of every experience. I want to reach that. So then the question, how do you do it? So then the prescription is different for everyone. For some people, I mean, you have to do what's near at hand, what's next at hand. So if that is your goal, for instance, depending on your circumstances, you would... it doesn't matter what you do, it matters how you do it. In other words, whatever your mode of life is all right. There's nothing, it doesn't say that one mode of life is superior to another. All modes of life are equally valuable for reaching spiritual understanding. The point is, the mode has to be, whatever mode of life you lead, it has to be infilled with a different spirit. It has to become more, you have to try to see that which is, that spirit which you're trying to determine. You're trying to find the spirit in everything. And I mean, meditation is one of the main roads, one of the primary roads or primary methods for doing that. But the main technique is to try to see the spirit in everything. I mean, it's not reasonable to suppose. Now here we are, we're seeing this world, we're seeing this grass and the trees and the clouds, and the wind and the drizzle and all that, and we're supposed to say, no, the spirit is something beyond all of this. No, the spirit has to be right here, this very moment. Everything is is really a sort of floating on an ocean of spirit. You should be able to see the spirit in everything. And so the other than this method of meditation, this is another method. Try to see God everywhere. Try to see the presence of purity, of holiness, of divinity, of infinity, of boundlessness, of sweetness, of joy. Try to see that everywhere. Well, how can I see it in grass and trees? And so the exercise is to see it in whatever your experience. Pratibodha viditam from the Kena Upanishad, it's to be seen in every perception. So if you say you are working, you have a job, you've got friends, you've got family, a wife, children, parents, you've got all these obligations. In every obligation, in every thought, it is to be seen. In other words, instead of getting mad at your mother because she's asking you to do something that you don't want to do, you have to see, yes, I may or may not want to do this, but I don't need to get mad at her. In other words, who is she? She really is my mother in a physical sense and my mentor in a psychological sense. But she is, at the heart of her also sits that divinity. At the heart of her is infinity, is God, is reality. So instead of treating my mother as somebody that I should, have varying reactions to, some pleasant, some unpleasant, some angry, some loving, I'm just treating her as a human being. She's much more than a human being. I have to see in her that which is divine. I have to see in her is present God just as much as in everything else in this universe. So I should treat people like that. I should try to see the divinity everywhere. If I need to react harshly and strongly because some injury is about to be done, I will do that. But that anger won't be there. That resentment won't be there. It'll be done as I'll be seeing that divinity, that holiness that underlies all of this. I may have to be quite harsh in a practical standpoint, but God has not gone somewhere else because something bad is being done. Say somebody needs to be punished. I mean, the best example is the Mahabharata, where Sri Krishna urged Arjuna to fight and kill all these people. That he had to do that, but he had to do it in the spirit of realizing the presence of God in all these things. Physically, that war had to go on. They had to be, it had to be done. That was Sri Krishna's judgment. But actually, there shouldn't have been any anger over it. It was necessary to do it, but what you're working on, what you're bathed in, what you're surrounded with is always God, always that infinite divine spirit, and so things should be treated that way. You do what is necessary to be done, but the attitude you have changes, and when you begin to try to see God in everything, Swami Vivekananda gave a lecture by that title. Once you begin to see God in everything, or at least try to feel that presence everywhere, it does respond. If you say, oh, this is all ridiculous, there's nothing here, then you won't feel anything, nothing will happen. But if you use that as a hypothesis and see if it actually works, do that for some time, and in your reactions, in your relations with people, try to see that there's a divine being you're dealing with. It's not just a physical or a mental entity. There is a response. So this is and when you begin to feel even the least little response, that has a tremendous effect on your outlook on all these things. Seeing everything that I was seeing.